There are games that include deliberate lies, either in the plot itself, so the character will say something or do something that is deliberately not true. Like they are actively lying, and the plot is made in such a way to belittle beliefs that are core to what the Bible tells us. Or they may not even have to say it. It may just be assumed. And this is where it gets subtle, but true, honorable, just, and pure. There are some games that they're just silly. And you're, Smash Brothers, you're trying to knock each other off a platform, or you're Mario Kart and you're trying to hit each other with shells. These are silly games. There's no embedded, deeper moral message. But there are some games, and depending how your child receives these games, something like a Fortnite, where we have to kill everyone. Like some people, that's just tag, and some people, it's something else. Like their experience is a little more Hunger Gamesy, and you'll know this by the rage they experience if they don't win. Or maybe it's not even the game itself, it's the feedback they get from the game, and they're now using this to be okay. And if they don't get their game time, they don't know how to process it. Then when we look at true, honorable, just, and pure, we go, hey, something else is present in this game. Maybe it's the game by design, maybe it's not, but we have concerns about this. True, honorable, just, and pure, even with our games. Yes, with the content, but also with how it affects us and the outcomes we get from this game. There are also going to be some games that are just not okay on their face. My boys went over to a friend's house. They have like a stand-up arcade. They were playing Mortal Kombat. And we just had to have a conversation afterwards. A very loving one, and say, hey, listen, I get why that's interesting. I understand that was fun with your friends, and I'm not concerned about your hearts. They didn't come back being like, woo, murder, death, kill. And when that game comes up next time, just suggest a different game. Like when your friends want to play that again, go be busy. Like I'm not going to ask you to get on a soapbox and explain to them how this doesn't line up with Philippians 4:8, but this doesn't line up with Philippians 4:8. This is not, the game is built around celebrating the fatalities. That was kind of Mortal Kombat's twist on that side platform combat game where you're punching, kicking, and then instead of them just falling down when their little energy bar reaches 0, they get stunned and a narrator goes, finish him. And if you've never looked up Mortal Kombat fatalities, please Google that at some point, not on your work computer, and make sure, you do it right before bed so you can really feel the weight of it. But those games, yes, they're creative. There's a certain kind of dark humor to it, not something we should be celebrating when it comes to true, honorable, just, and pure. The heart behind that is grotesque. It is macabre at best. It is something else at worst. There is a level of celebration of death in there that is not for the Christian. So, from my children, I said, hey, that's not what we're going to do. Again, maybe this is one of the things we're like, nope, it's like that album of music that we listen to that we know is dark, but we can process. Okay, I am saying that's a conversation I had. I had to be very deliberate with this because, as you will find out, when you come in with a no, you want to have a yes quickly in hand. Maybe it's not a yes for more video games. That's a route I took. Again, I don't play video games. My children do. In certain circumstances, they play with friends, not for friends. Meaning they play with people they already know and like in real life, and it's part of their experience. And then they go on with their experience in real life with those same people doing other things too. They play sports, they go for swim, they play pinball. And yes, stand-up arcade video games or whatever might be part of that. In this case, I gave my children a yes of these games instead of this game. So go play NBA Jam, go play Blitz, go play whatever Major League Baseball game is on the stand. Like they love that, and they think it's so funny that they can't figure out how to throw to first base, and they laugh while, they're doing silly antics in the game. Like that's wonderful. I'm fine with that. Not this game though. I don't want your heart getting used to celebrating this particular game. That's a fine standard for us to have. Just be ready for that yes when you lay down a no. And the reason for that is children do not always understand our heart as parents. Sometimes it's from our past mistakes. Again, I don't play video games because I misuse them. So I'm super sensitive when my children start playing video games like, oh, I wish you were enjoying something else. And I need to recognize that God is your God just like he's my God. And that God came to me and was very clear with Nathan, video games are not good for you. They are taking too much of your heart and attention. Give them to me. And I had to believe that Jesus is better even than my video games. I have to believe that Jesus is also a better parent than me. So while I will parent and set structural boundaries, my goal is not to make my children good. So if I'm parenting out of that fear and all I say is no, and then go do something else and no, then my children are just like, I don't know, my dad's scared of everything. So like, I don't know where the limits are because he says no to basically anything cool. So my job as a parent then is to lovingly say no to dangerous things and say yes to something else. Say, no, not that, but what about this? In my case, I used another game. but it would also be maybe a board game. Very hard to get overstimulated, and the content is generally much lower in terms of grotesque violence. I say generally, I know you can come out of the woodwork with all the examples that don't fit that, but compared to video games, it's a much smaller percentage, and you got to really find them. And again, you got to find people to play with them, and it takes longer to get into it. Like, it's a lot harder to sneak an unsafe board game. Let's say that.